Hello, it's me, your bestie Ingrid. It's Tuesday. I'm a little later in the day, in part because um, I had the bright idea because I was up early yesterday to take some ADHD meds, and then Mitch. Did it help me focus? Yeah, yeah. Did I get some things done? Sure, sure. Did I sleep last night? No, no, because that shit stops me from sleeping. So I slept in. Is it sleeping in if you don't pass out the 4 or 5? I don't know. You tell me. Anywho, so yesterday I told y'all about how I'm gonna be performing at Free Fridge in Edinburgh. I'm bringing my own show, 8 days, which is great. And so yesterday, after the gym, I took a little stroll to the corner store, got me a little sparkling soda, like an actual one, not booze. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And sat in a park bench and just stared at the people and the sky and the birds. And I'm telling this story, so I'm having to like look back at it. And I decided to, I don't know what made me do this, but I decided to go back and start listening to songs that I haven't listened to in like a decade. And let me tell you, it was, and I know for a lot of people, a lot of folks who come from Christian spaces and are no longer Christian or were like abused in spiritual spaces, like worship music and all that, a lot of it's really traumatizing for them, which I understand. Surprisingly not for me. Maybe not that surprising because, again, my family didn't force me into evangelicalism. I chose it. The shit I was given by my family, by my mom, was like Psalm 23 in French and like hymns. But like to me, that part of my like spiritual upbringing feels more nostalgic and more cultural, and like it feels like part of like my family story, and less about religion or about Christianity, but about how us Psalm 23 is a gracia, is a big deal. Éternel est mon berger, je ne manquerai de rien. Is this thing that when we got together for weddings and funerals or Christmas dinner, Easter, whatever, when we were in a room together, gathered, Psalm 23 was gonna pop off, Same with the hymns, I have really like solid memories of my mom walking around the house, doing things, I don't know, cleaning or cooking or whatever, and singing how great thou art, but en français, tu sais, de tout mon être alors s'élève un chant, Dieu tout-puissant, que tu es grand. De tout mon être alors s'élève un chant, Dieu tout-puissant, que tu es grand. Or like, quel ami fidèle et tendre nous avons en Jésus-Christ. Like, the foundation of my spiritual and faith life was not traumatic. The beginnings of it for me was about family and simple faith and culture and like something that held us through the hard times and something that grounded us, no one told me because we believed in God, I had to behave a certain way. No one told me because I believed in God, I was going to, or didn't believe in God or whatever, I was going to hell. There was no salvation's prayer. There was no 4 spiritual laws. The first 12 years of my spiritual life were about family and culture and heritage and just something bigger than me. Is about God is here for you. He loves you. He protects us. He guides us. We fast to talk to him, like just simple shit. And my mom blended that shit with offerings and crystals. And she was into, tarot and palm reading. And so all those things weren't a problem. And so I have no beef with that. And I think that most Black folks, on a basic level, that's what they have, it's very like cultural and family and community connected, and I don't beef that, because that is what helped folks push past the repression, and which is why Black and brown folks who are still Christians, I'm never mad at it, because I understand where our spirituality was birthed out of resistance of white supremacy in many ways. Now, will we have it, most of us, without oppression? And that's where, for me today, I'm like, that's not for me, because I know how we got it. But I'm not beefing until I get what it is. Where things shifted is when I started going to youth group, when I started going to evangelical spaces, when I started going to this Pentecostal Word of Faith church, where there were fucking rules that no one told me, and I didn't know how to fucking figure them out, and they weren't in the book, and they weren't at home, and all of a sudden you have to behave a certain way, and then faith and whiteness became synonymous. Faith and hyper feminism, like femininity, became synonymous. Faith and patriarchy became synonymous. Faith and anti-blackness became synonymous. When I started going to these predominantly white churches where, white male God reigns supreme, and money and capitalism and power reigned. So that's that. But I chose that, and I did not have the tools or the language to understand what's happening, but I chose to go to youth group. No one forced me. I chose to read my Bible. No one forced me. I chose to lead worship or to sing worship songs because they felt good. No one forced me. And so I can look back and see all the harm that kind of theology has brought in. And also, I can see young me just trying to figure life out, and that was how I did it. That being said, I was re-listening to some songs, some old, and I by principle, I don't listen to Hillsong or Bethel and all them motherfuckers because they're racists and they're abusers and spiritual, financial, sexual, name it, and they're assholes. Like, they don't deserve my 0.0001 cents. But I need to do the research because I need to be in the right mindset to make this art. And man, some flashbacks. I haven't heard No Longer Slaves in so long. The song was bop. These guys know how to write a bop. But as I was going through these songs, like, I was writing down memories that were prompted by it. Like, I remember I played Healer, which is a crazy story. One day I should tell y'all about the time I was in California for a missions trip, and we were doing a little worship session, and we were singing Healer. I guess I can tell you now. And it's like, I believe you're my healer. I believe you are all I need. It's a really popular song at the time. And this guy was from Australia visiting, and he was there with us, and he's like, we don't sing that song back home. Because this man pretended he had cancer, but he was really addicted to porn, and everyone, this guy wrote the song and been like, oh, God's gonna heal me, and this is my faith, and this whole church rallied with him, and then found out he was lying and actually just an addict to fucking porn, and and then it broke everyone's heart. He's like, I cried when I found out he had cancer, and I cried when I found out he lied. And I was like, oop. But that song made me think of the time when I was, in my early 20s, hella broke. I was working at a coffee shop for minimum wage, if that, and go to church, and I was in this whole I believe in miracles, God can heal me, and I was I didn't have the cash to get glasses, and I ran out of contacts, so I walked around essentially blind for months, believing I was gonna get healed. I was working as a cashier and a barista, purely cashing people out based on memory of where the buttons were. Because I couldn't read them. I would be leading worship on the weekend, and then we'd have practice on Thursday, and I would crash memorize all the lyrics between Thursday and Sunday because I couldn't read them on stage if the paper was on the floor. Holding out that I was going to get healed because I'm like, God can do it. And no one said, bro, what's up? No one said, that's silly. Bitch, get some glasses. If anything, someone would have been like, well, you're insane or your faith's wrong or your faith's not strong enough. That's why you're still myopic. What else? No longer slaves. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. And it's so funny because that song was everywhere, and I was blasting that song and so full of fear. And as I was listening to this, I actually was on this park bench physically crying and thinking, I'm so scared, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. Like, who will love me? Who will love me? Who will love me? And so much of that era of my life is just grounded in wanting to be seen, wanting to be loved, wanting to be held, wanting to be okay, and just grasping onto anything I could that promised that. Man, all that to say, working on this piece is going to be something, because it's forcing me to just really take a proper look at my formative years and the things I never dared say out loud or didn't have space to hold or all those things. Yep. One more. Y'all remember King of My Heart? King of My Heart by John Mark McMillan is a dope ass songwriter, period. Can we talk about how He Loves was never meant to be a worship song? You can blame Kim Walker for that. He wrote that song because his friend died in a car accident and he was sad. Y'all were spent years fighting over whether or not it was appropriate to sing Sloppy Wet Kiss on Sunday morning. He never intended for that. Anywho, he's a poet. Stand by it. I don't know what he's up to these days. Hopefully he's not an asshole, but poet. The bridge is, you're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down, 'cause you are good. And we're singing this like an anthem, you know? And the idea is that in contrast with my mortal family, everyday people who are not Christians, who are not bound by this spirit that we share, this love by this King of our hearts, you know? That God will never let us down. That He's inherently good. And that we are bound together by that goodness and by a commitment to that goodness. But what happens when on Sunday morning you sing, you're good and you'll never let me down, and then you go home and you watch over your balcony and there's a man bloodied on the streets? Or there's 3 shootings in your neighborhood in the first 2 weeks you move in. Or your neighbor knocks on your door and asks for $20 because her husband's drinking again and stole her money. Or your mom had another stroke and now is even more disabled than she was before. Or you get on your phone and turn on Twitter and Facebook and see that another Black man, woman, child was shot in cold blood in the streets. Right. And you look around and see a world full of evil and brokenness, and where people who are not kind and not just win, where people use faith in this kingdom of goodness for money and power and hide behind it to be racist and sexist and homophobic, and yet their bills are paid and you're still struggling. And what do you do with that? What do you do when you're told that this God who is supposed to never let you down, who's given you a spiritual family that's better because it's a spiritual family rooted in principles of goodness in the kingdom, are just as petty, if not more petty, more vindictive, more hateful than the people who aren't saved? What do you do with that? What do you do with that? What do you do when you start realizing that the faith you are given is being used to kill people? People go, well, that's church, that's not God. I'm like, y'all represent him. And y'all aren't standing up in church and telling your pastors to shut the fuck up when they're being racist. I had to sit at church and watch at church while this man, not my pastor, but a deacon at church, his pastor was away, while this man from the pulpit talked about how his daughter wanted to marry a Haitian man because his daughter was in Haiti as a missionary, and how when he heard this, he was like, well, I was worried because you know how Haitians are. And this man was respected. Oh, also, this man would claim that he's oppressed because he's Jewish. And when I called out the racism at church, he slid in my DMs and be like, I get it. I'm like, do you? Because you're racist too, nigga. Because you are racist and you are abusive and the way you lead your family is weird and wrong. Your own, anywho. But your God is good, right? And you represent him. Woo! All that to say is, man, I'm sifting through things and it's a lot. And we're going to put it into art. And I just locked in a Montreal venue, so stay tuned for Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto. I'm just working on that to come see the work in progress before I go to Europe and do it for 8 days straight. White as snow. Musings of a Former Church Girl, coming to a stage near you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It's long again today. I have things to say, I guess. Appreciate y'all. Love you. Bye.